Right, I'd like to introduce you to a couple of products that are going to be new for spring 2015, and they are a designated spod and marker braid. Now, when looking into this, we always look at how we can improve something that's already on the market, and we felt that certainly when it comes to spodding and your marker float work, you need a braid, you need the low diameter to make it much easier to cast further distances. And we found with a lot of products on the market, unless you were keeping the spool incredibly wet on a regular basis, you tend to get quite a lot of wind knots and frap-ups, and could lead to losing a load of line, massive tangles that become really, really difficult to get rid of, and you find yourself wasting a load of time on the bank. So these two have been born. They've been a long time in development. They're not just something we've grabbed off the shelf. We've had to work and develop it ourselves, as we always do. But we think we have made the best product that's on the market, and that is reflected in the price. Now, due to the technical makeup of the braid, it lends itself to having less tangles. It flies through the air better. Ultimately, though, it's got incredible knot strength too, very, very high knot strength. Now, when you want to fish at extreme range, or on any of your spod or marker setups, it's always worth putting a shock leader on. I'd recommend the 30-pound Arma-Kord, because this is very thin. You don't want a leader that's that much thicker, because they come very, very difficult to knot together. So just use a back-to-back grinner knot. Make sure they're nice and tight. Give them a real good test before you cast out, and it's game on. Now, a couple of sort of real important aspects that we found whilst doing the testing, and you can see from the spod braid, it's in what you might think is just the Korda green. Now, there is another reason for that. During testing, when we're casting out long distances, we noticed that it's a bit of a deterrent for seagulls. It's not going to put them off permanently, don't get me wrong, I'm not claiming that's what it will do. But if you overcast your spot, and you want, if you cast past where your marker float is, because you want to put some boilies out with a throwing stick, trust me, that bright green line waving across the surface definitely puts them off. And I'll guarantee you start sticking out and you'll be surprised how sort of wary the seagulls are, and they won't dive and get as many of your boilies. Obviously, the thin diameter and no stretch means that you can cast it as far as you can put your fishing rod, which is a massive, massive tip. That's why we spent time doing it. We didn't want to just get something off the shelf that's too thick for the job, so that we felt that it's hindering your ability to cast as far as you need to. And then onto the marker braid. Now, if you don't use a marker setup, or you do and you've got mono on your spools, you need to get a designated braid. You need something that's got no stretch, so that when you're dragging it across the contours, you can feel every bump, every nook, every cranny. It really is that important. You need to know what you're fishing on, and if you're doing it with a mono, because of the stretch in it, you'll find that we've seen it on the underwater stuff, you can see the lead will actually skid across certain areas, large areas that you've registered absolutely nothing. You might have just jumped over a patch of gravel or a patch of silt and never know. So there you go, available spring 2015, the Korda spod and marker braid.